Carpenter.
And I'm Deborah Lauren. Coming up next on Newsline 9 Late Edition, an Oklahoma City firefighter keeps up the fight in his battle against the odds.
Employees at Gulfstream take a vote on the possibility of a strike.
And what's not adding to the numbers of a local support group. Details on this and more coming up.
For a limited time only, you can get a Grandy's country steak dinner. A Grandy's steak dinner with potatoes, gravy, and your choice of vegetable and 2 rolls for the special low price of just... The special low price of $2.69.
Grandy's, the fastest home cooking around.
But hurry! At $2.69, they're going fast.
The John Deere Promise. Buy this new 1989 walk-behind, test drive it for a full month. If you don't agree it's the best mower you ever used, you can bring it back for a full refund.
And here's where you can get it.
Allison Lawn Equipment is proud to sell John Deere products. Let us serve you.
John Deere and Riverside Tractor, 2 names that stand for quality. Give us a call today.
The John Deere Promise. You like our new walk-behind or get a full refund.
KWTV 9, the spirit of Oklahoma.
Now, the #1 rated newscast in Oklahoma with Deborah Lauren, Mike Carpenter, sports with Rich Henkels, and Alan Mitchell with the weather. This is Newsline 9 Weekend Edition.
Good evening, everyone. More surgery today for Fire Department Captain Benny Zellner, still fighting for his life after burn injuries last week. Doctors spent more than 4 hours working on Captain Zellner's back, legs, and lungs. He was critically burned in a house fire last week. Doctors say his burn wounds are doing well, but his lungs are still causing problems. Their work today will help him breathe easier and process oxygen more efficiently, which will help in the healing process.
In summary, I guess, what you want to know is, Doc, have we done any good? I think we have done some good. He's in better shape than he was 24 hours ago.
But Dr. Silverstein says Zellner is still in worse shape than he was last week, and statistics give him only a 1 in 10 chance of making it.
Remember that while that sounds pretty bad, there's 10% that did make it. And there's no reason that Benny can't be one of that 10, and we're sure fighting for that.
Since Captain Zellner was injured, he has gotten dozens and dozens of get-well cards and letters from all kinds of people, even those who don't know him. Dr. Silverstein says many of those are now pasted on the walls of Captain Zellner's room to make things a little cheerier for him.
Employees of Gulfstream Aerospace Technologies voted this weekend to back their union leadership to the point of a strike, if necessary, in negotiations with the company. About 400 UAW members work directly for Gulfstream at Wiley Post Airport. Another 400 work on a subcontract basis. Their contract expires tomorrow, and negotiations have been hung up on several issues.
This strike vote is a tool for the bargaining committee to go back to the bargaining table Monday and say, look, our membership is backing us up.
Company President Bob Buckley says Gulfstream has gone about as far as a money-losing operation can go.
If we had the money in the bank, we would be sharing it. We don't. We have a faith that we'll become profitable. When we're profitable, we'll share that profit.
The two sides are at odds over more than pay. Benefits and working hours are also being disputed. Once a manufacturer of its own airplanes, Gulfstream was reincarnated several years ago as a maker of parts for other aviation companies, but has yet to turn a profit. Buckley says a strike could cause its clients to lose confidence in Gulfstream, wrecking it beyond repair.
Opening statements are expected to begin tomorrow in a shocking murder trial. Marilyn Plants and her boyfriend Clifford Bryson are charged with killing Marilyn's husband, Jim Plants. Plants was beaten with baseball bats at his home last August, then burned to death inside his pickup truck. A third defendant has confessed and is expected to testify against Plants and Bryson. Investigators are still searching for the cockpit voice recorder in yesterday's jet crash that killed an Oklahoma man. Officials hope it will give them some clues into exactly what happened during that routine cargo flight that went down near Fort Worth. Investigators say Captain Gerald McCall of Del City and Thomas Johnston radioed an in-flight emergency just moments before the plane went down. The DC-9 jet was on its way from Carswell Air Force Base to Tinker Air Force Base.
Several months ago, we looked into the possibility that Oklahoma City could see an increase in problem gambling as a result of pari-mutuel wagering now available here. Newsline 9's Jennifer Reynolds has an update on that story, which may surprise you. She tells us the local gambler support group has grown, but not because of the racetrack.
Since Remington Park opened last September, Gamblers Anonymous has gotten only 3 calls from people concerned their racetrack gambling may be out of control. The most recent came a couple of weeks ago from a wife concerned about her husband.
The wife left the husband and took her child and moved out of the house because of the fact that he was spending all of his time at the racetrack plus all his money.
But so far, there are no new members of Gamblers Anonymous who have joined because of track gambling. The folks at Gamblers Anonymous say the biggest problems they're seeing right now are not as a result of racetrack gambling, but a result of something much more common in this state, bingo. 71. It's more and more available, and according to Gamblers Anonymous, bingo is a real temptation for older Oklahomans.
It's a real serious situation, especially for the older people who live by themselves, and some of them even in senior citizen homes. They get their check on the 2nd, 3rd of the month, and they're by the 10th or the 15th of the month, they're broke.
If you spend more money than you can afford on any type of gambling, if you have to lie about how much you lose, or if you find yourself doing just about anything to keep gambling, you may need help. You can call Gamblers Anonymous at 525-2026. They have a North Side chapter and are now opening up a new group on the South Side and say they're ready to listen and help if they can. Jennifer Reynolds, Newsline 9, late edition.
Some Oklahoma City voters will head to the polls Tuesday to elect 3 new city council members. The members will represent Wards 1, 4, and 7. Ward 3 Councilman Jack Cornett was automatically reelected when his only opponent was disqualified for improper filing. Ward 4's Pete White is not seeking re-election. 6 people are running for his vacant seat. I.G. Purser of Ward 1 is facing 1 opponent, and Ward 7's incumbent Gory James is also facing 1 opponent. One of the toughest issues facing council next year is how to recover a $12 million budget shortfall.
And there's more to come on Late Edition. We'll find out if there's stormy weather ahead from meteorologist Alan Mitchell.
Students put their best stock forward in a show at the fairgrounds.
Also, where to turn when the unexpected hits the family.
And how one woman looks through adversity and sees an adventure. Stay with us.
Why should you buy your new $1,000 cash flow runs out? Rush into your nearest Hyundai dealer and go with the big Hyundai cash flow today.
By society's standards, she is handicapped. But by her own, she is handily equipped to send folks around the world. And as Newsline 9's Kim Cook tells us this weekend, this Midwest City woman you're about to meet hasn't let a paralyzing illness stop her from seeing the world through other people's eyes.
Mary Harper's everyday chores take a little longer than yours and mine. It takes a little extra effort for her to do things that we often take for granted. When she can't do something, her friends and neighbors help her out. And in return, she tells them where to go. On vacation.
I've always enjoyed traveling, so I thought it'd be perfect just to work part-time. It's something that I really enjoyed doing.
2 years ago, a rare disease left Harper completely paralyzed. Her recovery, she says, has been slow, but her spirits have never lagged, which is why Charles Cook hired her.
I hired her because I thought she would be a real asset to my company. Not because she was in a wheelchair or anything like that, but because she was vitally interested and because of the fact that she knew it and she was enthusiastic. And, of course, I was also doubly impressed because she was handicapped and had all these other qualities.
She resisted computers at first, but now Harper says she couldn't do without one. And working at home is good therapy, and she says good for her clients.
It gives me a feeling of feeling useful because we have more time. We can, get all sorts of extra information for them that a person that works in the office can't do. And, it's a satisfying feeling that you're doing a good job.
Harper has traveled all over the world, but she says she's still going places by making sure others are going places. Kim Cook, Newsline 9, late edition.
About 500,000 kids are poisoned every year, preventable mistakes that all too often lead to death. That frightening fact came a little too close to home for 19-month-old Ricky Poulin. He swallowed about 20 antidepressant tablets from a bottle that was left open, an accident that his mother thought she'd always be able to prevent.
Before we thought it was safe, but it's not, so we're going to recheck everything, put locks on things, put things up higher, out of the way.
Since nearly 70% of the calls that go into the Poison Control Center are related to kids getting into medicine and household products, doctors hope other parents do the same. TV9 is co-sponsoring Poison Prevention Week this week, and to help you avoid a deadly situation, you can call the Poison Control Center and get a poison prevention packet with all sorts of information to help you make sure your home is safe.
There are some things on here that even I wasn't aware of. I mean, you always think about things like drain cleaner and detergent and so on, but even cosmetics, perfume, things like that can be harmful to children.
Very attractive to people wanting to play, little kids.
You ought to have one of these.
Good information.
Alan Mitchell is up next with the forecast.
That's right. Stay with us.
Your best deal on a car comes from a dealer who cares, and that's Joe Coker, Pontiac GMC truck, where all you need is $288 down. $288 down, $252 a month buys a new air-conditioned Grand Prix loaded with cruise control, power windows, locks, and more. $288 down, $205 a month buys Joe Coker's air-conditioned Grand Am. $288 down, $149 a month buys a new GMC S15 pickup. That's Joe Coker, Pontiac GMC truck, I-40 and Sooner Road, Midwest City. Like we say, Joe Coker cares.
Computers, VCRs, seems like every day they come up with something to make our lives more confusing. One of the new ideas I do like, though, is money cards.
Most banks, credit unions, or savings and loans offer them. A friend showed me how easy and safe money cards are to use at almost 100 Metro 7-Eleven.
Now when I need money quick, I just drop into my neighborhood 7-Eleven and use my money card and their money quick machine. If you don't have a money card, get one.
And use it at your neighborhood 7-Eleven. It's easy!
Brahms has some old-fashioned ideas about hamburgers, like a special old-fashioned price of 99 cents. For a limited time, 99 cents is all you pay for a quarter-pound patty of 100% beef. Garden-fresh toppings, even lettuce and tomato, served on a fresh bun baked in Brahms' own bakery. Brahms' old-fashioned hamburger at a very special price, just 99 cents at your neighborhood Brahms Ice Cream and Dairy Store.
My Oklahoma Country Ford dealer made my first purchase an easy. He told me about their first-time buyer and red carpet lease programs through Ford Credit. So I got just what I wanted. That's quality people.
And right now, get Ford Ranger with air conditioning, AM/FM cassette, power steering, and more for about $10,000. Plus, get $750 cash back or low 4.9 financing on the best-selling compact truck in America. See your Oklahoma Country Ford dealer today.
We had the little warning up on the screen during the basketball tournament this afternoon. We had some heavy thunderstorms in Oklahoma. What's become of those?
Well, those have dissipated now. In fact, we aren't really picking up anything in Oklahoma. There is a threat, though, of later tonight, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, particularly in western sections of the state, of seeing a few thunderstorms redevelop. But right now, the best threat of seeing any severe weather has pretty much gone by the wayside. Right now at 10 p.m. here in the metro area, 53 degrees. That's also been the high for the day. Wind now out of the south at 20 miles an hour. Humidity coming in at 96%, and the pressure's falling now as the storm system moves in from 29.79 inches. Once again, nothing to show you on radar right now to speak of, so we'll check out the record high on this date, 97 degrees in 1907. Record low was 9 in 1923. A little bit mild this morning, 44 degrees, but the winds were a little strong, so it made it feel somewhat cool today. Quite a bit above our normal low of 38, and once again, 53, our current temperature, has been the high so far today. Here's the way it looks around the state of this hour. 54 in Gage, 49 from Enid. Ponca City now coming in with 48. Down to the south, a little bit warmer. Ardmore now 55. Alta still 59 degrees there. 50 now coming in from McAllister. There were a few thunderstorms around this afternoon. We did have to put out a severe warning on one particular one that came up across Waurika, as well as a track near Davis and then on to McAllister, but it wasn't too strong. It did produce quarter-size hail around Wichita Falls before it moved into Oklahoma. Now then, I've got a satellite movie to show you, and this begins 24 hours ago, 10 p.m. last night. And at that time, you know, I talked about an upper-level disturbance setting in southwestern sections of Texas that would be tracking across Oklahoma, bringing that threat of rain with it. Well, there comes one right there that produced the severe thunderstorm this afternoon. But look at the second complex that's developed this evening. Look at those thunderstorms just explode here in the last few hours. And it looks like that this complex here should continue moving pretty much eastward, so it won't have that big of an effect on Oklahoma. As a matter of fact, when you get a complex this big, it tends to suck in all the moisture from around it, and it won't provide the favorable fuel that we need to see some big storms develop here in Oklahoma. There will be a threat later tonight, but by and large, most of the severe weather should remain south of Oklahoma the way it looks at this time. Now then, yes, that is snow on the forecast map. We've got a cold front moving into the state, should make northern Oklahoma tomorrow morning, as well as central sections probably about noontime. So the high temperatures across much of the state will probably occur prior to noon, and then particularly during the afternoon, the temperatures should begin to fall. And by late afternoon and into the evening hours, there will be a threat of seeing some snow in northwestern and northern parts of the state tomorrow night. And then it looks like through much of the state, probably on Tuesday, I think probably at least the northern half. Amounts are very difficult to call this time because the storm is still setting back over northern parts of Nevada, but it does look like it'll track across probably northern sections of New Mexico, come across the Texas Panhandle, and then across southern parts of Oklahoma. And as it does, we could see that threat of seeing some snow. 2 to 3 inches the way it looks right now, but certainly the track could vary quite a bit, and consequently heavy snowfall amounts could vary quite a bit with that. Here's the way it looks for tomorrow: 50 in the morning, 55 for a high before the front comes in. We'll give it about a 70% chance of showers and a few storms, it looks like. Then on Tuesday, a high of only 37 degrees. Maybe a little bit of snow mixed in with the rain there. Wednesday clearing out. Looks like a gradual warm-up after that. Maybe a chance of rain coming back in on Thursday as well as Friday. Now then, here's the forecast for tonight. Showers with a few thunderstorms around, lows from 46 to 50, and for tomorrow. Windy, turning colder across much of the state. Winds will be turning northerly at 20 to 30 miles an hour. Gusty as well, with a mixture of rain and snow in northern sections of the state, particularly by late afternoon and evening, with a few thunderstorms and rain elsewhere, particularly in the southeast and for the metro area. Thunderstorms tonight, that'll be closer to morning probably, and then through much of tomorrow we have a threat of seeing some light rain, but after the front gets in here about noontime, I tell you there will be a chill in the air tomorrow afternoon. Temperatures falling, winds gusting 30, maybe 40 miles an hour, so if you got anything to do, probably take care of it before noon, looks like would be the advice.
And tomorrow is the first day of spring?
Spring, it sure is. Begins at 9:28 in the morning. You wouldn't know it.
Ends at 9:30, yeah. Still ahead on Late Edition, it was a tense day for police who were busy dealing with 2 hostage situations.
And violence mars today's presidential elections in El Salvador. Details next.
And your title. Now, these are typical examples. Close to 600 great ways to save money right here at 39th and North Main. Make the short drive where our volume selling truly means more for your car, truck, and van purchasing dollar. Lynn Hickey Dodge right here in Oklahoma City. Stay tuned for more great savings.
A weekend of violence in El Salvador as voters go to the polls to choose a new president and as rebel guerrillas try to stop them. For soldiers on the outskirts of the capital, the day began with a battle against attacking guerrillas. The sound of gunfire kept many voters at home. In towns controlled by the rebels, there was no voting at all. In areas where it was safe to vote, the balloting was heavy. U.S. officials who toured various parts of the country called that a defeat for the guerrillas.
Whether they like it or not, and evidently they don't like it since they've done so much to try and stop the polling, stop the voting, I think the FMLN is going to have to admit that an awful lot of people in Salvador want to vote today.
People smiling, people laughing, people enjoying themselves, participating in the voting process, participating in democracy.
But other official observers say the guerrillas did a pretty good job of scaring voters away from the polls. The front-running in the voting is reported to be Alfredo Cristiani, whose right-wing party is allegedly behind the country's roving death squads.
A blind prison escapee has been shot and killed after holding 2 Minnesota children hostage. 2 days after the escapee and an accomplice took the children hostage, SWAT teams fired a stun grenade into the house. Larry Hill held a knife to one of the child's throat. Police shot and killed him, then rescued the children. Hill's accomplice, who helped him escape from a doctor's office on Friday, was not injured. And a 2-day-long hostage situation in Illinois has also ended in violence tonight. Earlier this evening, police fired tear gas in the home where a man was holding his girlfriend and her teenage sister hostage. Shots were fired, and the gunman and his girlfriend were both killed. The 14-year-old sister is in surgery.
A U.S. military helicopter has crashed in South Korea. 22 American Marines are dead, 13 others hurt, some of them critically. Officials say the Sea Stallion helicopter was participating in joint U.S.-South Korean military maneuvers when it went down in an isolated mountain region about 170 miles southwest of Seoul. The cause of the crash has not been determined.
Well, just ahead in sports, it is down to the Sweet 16 in the NCAA basketball tournament.
Sportsline 9's Rich Hinkles has highlights of today's action next.
The new Honda Accord Coupe. It's music to your eyes.
Test drive an '89 Honda at your 4-star Honda dealer.
And here is Rich Hinkles. We are on our way, and it's just 2 weeks from tonight. We could be saying that OU's the national champion.
That's right. 2 weeks from this weekend. It'll be actually tomorrow night, 2 weeks. And I'll tell you, that Monday is a madhouse. Last year we found out, of course, when Oklahoma was in it, they didn't win, but they still got a chance. They're in it this year, right?
That's right.
Keep our fingers crossed. Talking basketball, unless you call a 5th seed beating a 4th seed an upset, the NCAA tournament played pretty much perfect to the draw today. No upsets to speak of. A big winner, Missouri of the Big 8. Let's take a look. Tom Penders of Texas did a lot of nail biting today. The Tigers got off to a fast start and never looked back. Byron Irvin on the give and go. He had 18 points in the game played in Dallas. Doug Smith, player of the game, a career high 32 points for him. And Missouri rolled to an easy victory over the Longhorns. Let's take a look. To the scores, as I said, the Tigers clobber the Horns and Syracuse has its way. Those two teams meet Friday in Minneapolis. In Atlanta, the Southeast Regional Michigan sends South Alabama home after a battle, and North Carolina outlasts UCLA. The winners move on to Lexington on Thursday. In Providence, Rhode Island, the East Regional matchup between NC State and Iowa went 2 overtimes. Rodney Monroe scored to take it into both of those OTs. He scored 11 of his career-high 40 points in the second overtime, and the Wolfpack of NC State sent Iowa home disappointed. Great game, as you can see. Big win for Jim Valvano. So North Carolina State moves on, as do the Hoyas of Georgetown. They will meet in the Meadowlands on Friday in an East Regional matchup. Out west in Tucson today, Indiana was awesome, absolutely unbelievable against UTEP, and Seton Hall plowed over Evansville. It will be the Hoosiers and the Pirates in Denver on Thursday. The Oklahoma Sooners, of course, are in the Sweet 16 of the NCAA tournament. Tonight, following late edition, Billy Tubbs and Bill Tegans will discuss their upcoming opponent in the Southeast Regional, Virginia. That next on the Billy Tubbs Show. With an NCAA investigation hanging over his head, Eddie Sutton stepped down today as head basketball coach at Kentucky. The Wildcat program suffered its first losing season in 62 years this past year. Sutton says his resignation is not at all an admission of guilt.
I am innocent, and it's been very tough. I've had 30 wonderful years of coaching. I've always tried to run programs in the right way, and I've done the same thing here. But I just feel like that if this continues, it's going to hurt more and more people, and I don't want the University of Kentucky basketball program to suffer anymore.
The Oklahoma State Cowgirls season came to a sad close today down in the Bayou State. Powerful Louisiana Tech handled OSU 103-78. The OSU ladies end their season 20-12. A good year nonetheless. Tomorrow night in Kansas City, the SNU Lady Redskins play for the NAIA national title. Top-seeded and unbeaten Claflin of South Carolina awaits. SNU is the third straight District 9 team to make the finals. OCU won it last year. Last night, East Central made it to the men's title game. They beat Wisconsin Eau Claire 58-56. The Vernell Kemp Show, 24 points for him. This is a look at Terry Winston inside. The offensive rebound and the bucket to follow. 4 Tigers are averaging in double figures. Tomorrow night, they face St. Mary's of Texas in the title game at 8:30. An all-Oklahoma NAIA final. The women and the men win from OU, or from East Central and SNU. We got a big victory for the state. Tom Kite took the lead early today at the Tournament Players Championship in Florida, and he never looked back, never does when he takes the lead, winning his second straight title on the PGA Tour. Ben Crenshaw had trouble sinking his putts this weekend, but he made a run today. A little magic with a short iron. Watch this shot. The eagle on the 9th hole got him back into the tournament. He still finished 6 back, however. Gil Morgan trailed Kite by just 1 stroke at one point. A birdie here on the 11th, but he suffered a damaging triple bogey and fell off the pace to finish 5 under par in 6th place. As for Kite, as I said, he hit the early putts and kept some distance between himself and the rest of the field. The winning putt there to close it out, $243,000 the prize. Richard Petty had a chance to win the Atlanta 500 today. Watch what happens on the pit stop. Gas hits the tailpipe and flames go everywhere. Petty retired for the day, and his crewman is in stable condition, suffering from burns on 50% of his body. With 9 laps to go, a caution flag gave Darrell Waltrip a chance to pass Dale Earnhardt, and he did for his second win of the year, worth more than $60,000 of the $550,000 purse. It was very windy and very cold, according to photographer Greg Blackwood, but he still braved the elements and caught part of Oklahoma's 9-8 baseball win over Centenary this afternoon down in Norman. 50 or so fans withstood the cold as well at Dale Mitchell Park. Good defense early. Todd Wilson digs one out for Centenary. Enos Seymour wants his Sooners to play that kind of defense this year, I would imagine. Wilson didn't stop everything, however. Paul Oster threw the gap. In comes John Douglas for Oklahoma, and the Sooners fought from behind for the victory. They are now 9-5 on the year. Let's take a look at the scoreboard. So the Sooners get a win, as do the Oklahoma State Cowboys. They beat top-ranked Texas A&M today. A couple of brawls marred that game. The Pokes are now 14-3 on the year. Well, throughout the sportscast, I've talked about Oklahoma schools playing for national titles. The state has already won 2. Northeastern A&M won the national junior college basketball title just last night, and Oklahoma State claimed his 28th NCAA wrestling title yesterday afternoon. Two wrestlers won individual titles. Chris Barnes won the 177-pound class last night. The team title had been clinched early in the day. Josie rarely sat down, as Kendall Cross won at 126 as well. Their first title since 1971. They felt the home crowd support.
Before I ever went out there, I felt 110%, you know. I said, there's no way this guy's going to beat me. I've got, so many fans behind me.
The reason I wanted to win it was for our alumni, people that have been there and support us all the way through. They're great people, and they deserve to have it back.
And indeed they do. A quick add to that OSU wrestling story. OSU Athletic Director Myron Roderick said today that head coach Joe C's job is not in jeopardy in the least. A rumor to that effect had been circulating, especially from Arizona newspaper, as a matter of fact. But Roderick says that report is not true at all, and Joe C's job is very safe. More than 13,000 patrons took in the racing at Remington Park today. A long shot winner in race 2 made the daily double pay more than 650 buckaroos. The 12-horse, one of the favorites, Rose's team, had the lead coming down the stretch, but long shot Royal Fifth came on strong. The Shawnee, Oklahoma horse pulled out a half-length victory and paid a whopping, get this, $83.60 on a $2 bet. Take a look at the payoffs. $83.60, $32.40, $12.60. Not bad at all. As for the daily double, the exacta first, there we go, 9-12, 651. The daily double, 8-9, 671. Attendance, 13 plus, 1.6 million. Carryover, no winner on the pick 6. $34,000 going there. And I'm always giving you guys a hard time saying somebody's going to win that. One of these days, we're going to have to get together, look through the pick 6 cards, and come up with a winning ticket. That way I'll have something to say at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
Thanks, Reg.
Up next, it was sheer delight today at the fairgrounds.
Students show off some hard work and an eye for detail. Next.
It's
Sheer excitement at the State Fairgrounds today. Students from across the nation were out in full force for the annual FFA Junior Livestock Show. Some contestants were showing their lambs and their homemade woolen wear, while others were showing the hard work and sheer determination it takes to take home a blue ribbon.
You have to walk them every day to build up their muscling in their leg and their strengthness and everything. And then you have to shear them to see if they have the correct amount of finish. And then before the show, you have to wash them and blow them and clip them again. And that's about all.
After the show, some contestants find it is hard to part with their animals, but all agree it's worth the work. The Junior Livestock Show will run from now until Tuesday.
That's about all, she says. Isn't that enough?
I was going to say, yeah, that's an understatement if I've ever heard one.
A lot of work for a sweater.
Well, that's about all we have for you this weekend. We thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Next Saturday.
That's right.
Hairstyles furnished by Salon One. Newsline 9 is the #1 rated newscast in Oklahoma.